morning and welcome to this week's edition of Coffee with a Coach. You know, one of the best parts of doing Coffee with a Coach is when somebody sends me an email with a question and we can answer it right here on video. And so I actually got one this week and it goes like this. It says, "Dear Malcolm, I work for a small minority-owned company," that's all I'll say, and I won't tell you where it is. "And we have about 30 or so employees, one office location, modest accommodations, and just under $10 million a year in revenues. The owner, who's the president, is a rather frugal man for lack of stronger words. To save money, today he decided to implement groups within the company who will do daily cleaning of the kitchen and company areas rather than pay a cleaning company to do it. A schedule was created, teams created, and a company-wide email sent out with the announcement. Now, I've always considered myself one to roll up my sleeves and pitch in whatever hat was necessary for the good of the company until I read the list of designated team members for cleaning detail. To my surprise, the top two individuals in the company were missing from the roster: the company president, who's the owner, and his right-hand man. As a company, we typically all work together, and there is little, if any, noticeable rank displayed by any one individual. Today, I was taken back by feelings of exclusivity and executive rank that left me angry and wanting to speak out on the issue. Of course, I understand the situation is probably not all that uncommon, but in today's world, would you really task everyone in the company, except those who consider themselves elite, to do kitchen and cleaning work? At the moment, I don't know how I'm going to respond to this tomorrow, but I wanted to ask for your advice and opinion." Well, that's an interesting thought, and it really leads us to what we're going to talk about this week. But here's what I'll tell you right up front. If I'm the owner or the president of the company, I'm the last guy who's going to want to clean the kitchen. But the other thing is this: if I go in there and I drink coffee, and if I get donuts and I get powder all over the counter, I should be able to clean up my own mess. So when I look at this and I see this happen, then I wonder what's going to happen when that president comes out one day and says, "Folks, we got to pull together as a team to make this deadline." Well, where were you when the team was in training doing the things like that? I worked at an association once with a great boss. His name was Gary Engebretson, and Gary was the first guy who would jump in and help us stuff binders for these big association meetings that we put together. My son goes to Our Lady of Good Counsel High School, and we were at one of these events. It was called the Bull Roast earlier this year, and it was in the gym, and we were all eating, and somebody spilled a drink on the floor, and Mr. Yor, the principal, was the first guy up to grab a bucket and a mop and clean up that mess. If you expect to be a leader, then you got to be the first one that picks up the mop and does that kind of work. If you do it right, someone's going to step up and say, "Please don't do that. I'll take care of that." That's the mark of leadership. Leadership isn't sitting back there saying, "All of you do all the menial work." If you like that, then channel yourselves back to ancient Egypt and you can go ahead and tell everybody to build pyramids for you. That's not the way to do it. It's all about authenticity. Are you really who you say you are? And if you're thinking about how to develop your power, that's one of the best ways to do it. If I'm this company president and I say I'm all about teamwork, and yet I tell everybody else to clean the kitchen except for me and I use the kitchen, that's not being authentic. It's all about being who you say you are. Last week I went and did a 2-day workshop at a company up in Connecticut, and I won't tell you who they are, but they manufacture light fixtures and electrical outlets. And what was so cool is I went to the training room on site, and this room was loaded with outlets. And that's one of the biggest challenges I have whenever I do a workshop, is that there's never usually enough outlets to plug in a projector and your laptop and your iPad and all those gadgets that you use. This company, they build light fixtures and electrical outlets and parts for that, and their training room is loaded with them. It's total authenticity. So this week, think about that. If you really want to be who you say you are, then do what you say you're going to do. And I can tell you right up front, that's not an easy thing to do. One of the challenges I face is on Sundays, about once a month, I volunteer to read the announcements at church, which means that I get to see people and they see me, but I don't remember their names, but they remember my name and my face. This past Saturday, we were out driving around and got into a little bit of an altercation in a parking lot, and it was verbal, but I was ready for it to go physical. And I thought, wow, what would happen if that guy was actually sitting in church on Sunday morning? What a fake I'd be seen as. So I can tell you up front, it's a big challenge. All you can do is do the very best you can. And for my friend that wrote the letter here, what I'll tell you is that that tells me something about your company and about your president. And if they're not willing to pull together like this to help you when it's something as mundane as doing kitchen work, what's it going to be like when they want to support you or you need their support for a bigger project? Something to think about this week. So it's all about the power of authenticity. Folks, I'd love for you to email me. Best way is you can go to my website that does this kind of thing. It's askthecoachrightnow.com, or just directly at coach@contactmycoach.com. Love to hear from you. Love to answer your questions on the air. And anyway, that's it. Hey, by the way, if you haven't got that engagement report yet, go to imquittingyou.com. You can pull it down today. That's all I have for this week. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week on Coffee with a Coach.